Welcome to conference, and I want to send a special welcome out to the folks from the Confluence that have joined our extended community. So welcome, and apparently you don't know this, but it is raining here and very humid. We just had Mysore practice, so Tamara's lens is fogged up. So conference today is extra mystical to our extended family. But it has been foggy, even like last night. Did anyone else notice, like, it was dark, but there was this glow from the fog that you could see, like the silhouettes of the trees and things like that. It was really beautiful. So anyway, we're sharing our fog with you. We have been studying the vagus nerve as it applies to a couple things. One is the year of the dog. We're just in the year of the dog, so we've been talking about for me, extending my intention of all of us trying to be better lovers this year and to love more and to love bigger. And in that, we went into the science of that and how yoga actually helps us be more loving people. And it's not just the yoga fairies or the sprinkle dust that we do at Shavasana, but it's actually hard science, and part of that is understanding the vagus nerve, which is the 10th cervical nerve, and that vagus means wandering Latin, and it runs throughout our bodies. And so we've been studying how yoga actually helps strengthen the tone, so all of you are understanding that with that nerve we refer to it as having a weaker tone or a stronger tone. And our last conference that we taped was about different ways that we could strengthen our vagal tone. And we looked at the disease that's associated with weak vagal tones. Do you guys remember what those are? Depression, anxiety, some more serious mental disease like possibly schizophrenia and things are finding, physical, heart disease, gut diseases, autoimmune diseases all associated with. So we know that keeping that tone strong is good for our physical health and our mental health. And the research that we took into last week and a little bit this week is showing more and more that having a strong vagal tone means that we're basically more loving and more compassionate, connected people. And on our website this week, so sort of homework for you guys, carry over from last week. If you go to our homepage, we have a 7-minute video from the Creative Good Science Center with Dr. Keltner, who's from Berkeley, a social scientist. He's completely devoted his studies to the vagus nerve, and also one of his TED Talks, which goes a little bit into Darwinism. So I highly recommend you guys, if you just do me this and just say, okay, Di, I'm just gonna give it a minute. And if it doesn't impress me by a minute, you can turn it off. But I think you'll get through the full 7 minutes because it's very interesting about, again, moving into not just being physically more healthy, but just being mentally more healthy people when we take care of ourselves in that way. So I wanted to talk this week a little bit about, again, bringing this back to the yoga practice and the yamas and the niyamas, the Ashtanga 8 limbs, named after Ashta meaning 8, Anga meaning limbs. And the first 2 limbs are really important because it has to do with why I hope we're all here. What's the yamas mean? Any translation, Diana translation's fine. That's the koshas. So what are the Ashtanga, what's the yamas? Kind of, yes, the do's and don'ts. It's kind of it translates to the moral codes, but I always say the yamas really have to do with like how you show up for life, like how you are in the world, you know, honest, you know, don't steal, you're not hoarding, all those things. And then what are the niyamas? Yeah, it's kind of your own moral codes, like how you are with yourself, how you treat yourself. So we find svadhyaya there, you know, self-study and ishvari pranadana, these kind of things. So I feel like as your yoga teacher here at the Shala, I always want to remind myself and all of you that even the breath practice and the asana, or the form of the practice, come after those 2. And the latter limbs have to do with us moving internally into our practice. But the first 2 really say, how are you living your life? You know, and I'll put this out on the YouTube extended community, and hopefully Tim won't mind, but my teacher and my dear friend during one of his conferences or one of his workshops said something that I will never forget and I pass on whenever I get a chance. And he said this: it doesn't make any sense to do a practice like yoga and go out in the world and act like a jerk. Which was very Tim, but I loved it because it was so simple. So if we come here today and we do a practice for an hour and a half of breath and movement, and then we go out into our cars and, you know, we're flipping people off and cursing, you know, I always say, like, something didn't work. You know, like, so the idea really for us is that we breathe and we move inward and we let go of judgments and stuff when on our mat, and that works on our, among so many things, it works on our vagal tone, which has to do with moving us into the parasympathetic part of our nervous system and helps us be more calm, more mindful. Little space in between action and reaction kind of people is the idea. So, you know, this week I really said, for me, number one is that this is a place of love, that you come here to your mat, and that you're not competitive and you're not judging and hard on yourself and pushing yourself and ahimsa, not getting injured by pushing yourself. So number one for me as a teacher is just that you find this place and this place, a place where your niyamas, or that you first, when we talk about love and having a strong vagal tone, is you first have to love yourself. Be kind to yourself, you know. And then second, I feel like we can take that then, and we'll talk a little bit more about this next week, about your vagus nerve and oxytocin and some different fun chemistry we can play with here, but really about how we show up for life and how we treat the people that are most important in our life. Are we loving? Are we compassionate? Do we feel connected to others because of our yoga practice is really, for me, one of the great benefits of dedicating, rather than going to the gym, which is good, but you choose to come here. You guys spend a lot of time here. You know, for all of us, underlying that is that we show up as better partners to our spouses, better friends to the people we've drawn into our lives, better parents, you know, better drivers on the California freeways. And, you know, for me personally, that's why I keep coming back to my mat. And for me also as a teacher, that's why I want to share this practice with all of you. So the quote for this week is by Mahatma Gandhi. You all know this quote, but I really feel like it's a practice, a mantra for us all. When he said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." And I have some homework for you around that, but I'm actually going to give you that homework next week instead of this week. Namaste.